Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. No sunglasses. We're almost fully back here with the eye injury. Coming up on today's show, I'm going to give you the Raiders news that you need to know before Monday Night Football tonight up against the Atlanta Falcons. And hopefully, I haven't been at work in quite some time. The studio lights have been super bright, but I'll tell you what, I can't freaking wait for Monday Night Football tonight, and I hope that everybody tunes in with Jeremy Chugs and I. Make sure you're subscribed. We're going live an hour before kickoff, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Hopefully everybody over there on the West Coast joins us as well. We're going to get wet. We're going to get wild. We're going to have some fun, and yeah, I am bought into the team tank. We will be rooting for the Raiders to lose because we want that number one overall pick. That is more important than us winning football games at this point. If you're a Raiders fan and you don't realize that, it's time to wake the hell up, man. So we're going to get into some injury news here, and I know that the injury news that everybody wants to talk about is Aidan O'Connell, Desmond Ridder. I'll get to that here in just a moment because I do have a very strong take on who needs to start tonight, and quite frankly, who needs to start the remainder of the season for the Silver and Black. Some good news, like you still want to see some of these guys get healthy, especially a dude like Nate Hobbs. He's going to be a full participant. He was a full participant on Saturday, which means he's going to end up playing. Antonio Pierce even said it earlier in the week that he was going to play in this game. I think that this is good for the Silver and Black, and it's good for Nate Hobbs because you got 4 games to be able to prove that, hey man, maybe there's a chance that you come back. He's going to be a free agent this offseason, a player that the Raiders drafted, at Illinois in the 5th round many years ago in 2019. It's kind of crazy to think about that. But that's a dude that he's very versatile, can play inside slot corner, can drop back to a lot of different things. But that's a dude, if you want him back on this football team, he needs to go out there and he needs to play those final 4 weeks. Because if you're the Raiders, why would you bring back somebody who's talented but has had, no doubt, a lot of injuries? Alexander Mattison, he was a full participant on Saturday. He's going to get some playing time, but Antonio Pierce said that Sincere McCormick's going to be the starting running back for the remainder of the season, and he should be. For a guy who's making $288,000, which is what Sincere McCormick made, in the NFL, it doesn't get much lower than that. And he's one of these SFAs, I believe is the actual term, and he can come back to the Raiders if they want to end up bringing him back, but why not? Keep pounding the rock with Sincere. He's been running the ball, and I think it's fun to watch him. One player, Adam Butler, he's questionable. Crosby's obviously out for the remainder of the season. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. Justin Shorter, he's a tight end. He's going to be playing in this one. Sam Webb is doubtful. Jacoby Myers is going to be going, and then Aidan O'Connell is questionable. So you know what? I think the number one question that I've been getting asked all weekend, I was out in Vegas over the past weekend, and, I was there Friday, Saturday, which, by the way, I'm not kidding you, I didn't see, any Raiders fans, barely saw any Falcons fans. I anticipate a very empty stadium at Allegiant Stadium, which is still the most beautiful thing I've ever laid my eyes on, minus Alex and Chuck, of course. But the number one question that I was asked when, people would come up to me out in Vegas, and I always appreciate when people do, it was, do you want Aidan O'Connell or do you want Desmond Ridder to start this week against the Falcons? So I think, what better way to do it than put this as the pinned comment? So here's what's going to happen. Y'all are about to get it with the YouTube ad break. While that ad is playing, I want you to scroll on down and give me your answer. Who do you want to start tonight against the Atlanta Falcons? If you want Aidan O'Connell, type AOC. If you want Desmond Ridder, I want you to type DR. My answer coming up here in just a moment. The reason why I'm going to say Desmond Ridder is because when healthy, Aidan O'Connell gives the Raiders a better chance to win than Ridder. I was somebody who was excited that the Raiders signed Ridder a few weeks ago because as a content creator, Desmond Ridder is a name and Desmond Ridder is a person that I want to talk about. But at the end of the day, I knew that Ridder was going to be exactly what Desmond Ridder was, right? But I think the other reason why you got to do this is because the number one objective for this season is to plan for next season, is to get ready to look ahead and how's the best way that we can make sure that we're putting ourselves in the best situation next season. And I'm telling you, we need Aidan O'Connell 100% healthy for next season. And even if he ends up playing, he's not going to be 100% healthy. And I know that the injury was kind of weird last week where he goes down with a knee injury, non-contact type of thing, ends up getting carted off. They put him in an air cast. When you see somebody get put in an air cast and get carted off, everybody was like, yeah, that season's over. It was reported by guys like Schefter, Jordan Schultz, Ian Rappaport that his season's probably over, and now he's got a chance to play this week. The reason, though, that I'm sitting him is because we do need Aidan O'Connell next season. And I'm not saying that I want Aiden to be the starter, but I want Aiden to be the reliable backup that we know that he can be. But on top of that, it's because we also have Gardner Minshew. I mean, let's face it, if Aiden would have went down with a knee injury that would have ended his season, I don't think he would have been ready to go for next year. And then if you're the Silver and Black planning on drafting a quarterback, whether that be Shedeur Sanders, they're planning on drafting Shedeur, or maybe it's a Cam Ward, I will say this. There was another quarterback that I heard when I was in Vegas. I'll talk about him probably tomorrow when I go live on the Raiders Report as well, which will be at 4 p.m. Eastern time. There's another quarterback that's starting to climb up some boards, and I don't know if he's going to go in round one. I'll talk about him again tomorrow a little bit. But, you're planning on drafting a QB. I'm telling y'all right now, the Raiders will draft a quarterback this year. They're going to draft a QB. You bet on it. It's going to happen. They're going to draft one. So you need to have a reliable backup quarterback, and Aiden O'Connell is that guy. You don't want Gardner Minshew. I'd rather have Aiden O'Connell on his contract making like 1 point whatever million compared to keeping Gardner Minshew at 14 million. Because if Aiden gets hurt, well, then you actually have to think about, should we keep Gardner Minshew at $14 million base salary? You can cut him, you can trade him, you can move on from that contract in a little bit of ways, but you would end up eating money. The best way going forward for the Raiders, cut Gardner Minshew or trade him, save the money in that regard, and then you have a cheap, reliable, good backup quarterback in Aiden O'Connell, which I think would be a great mentor for any young rookie QB that we end up going out there and getting, and it's a player that people respect in AOC. I know that Aiden gives you a better chance to win, but can we all agree, like the video if you agree, that this season is about planning for next season, and I want a healthy Aiden O'Connell for next season to be that backup quarterback, because if he gets hurt, I still think the Raiders can move on from Gardner, and then you're in another situation where, you might have to figure out going out and signing another QB, which is going to cost extra money. It's going to cost extra salary cap. Aiden is the perfect backup based on his contract, based on what he knows, what we can bring to the table, and if you are planning on getting Shedeur, I know Shedeur and Aiden are very different, but I do think that the offense that they're going to try to execute is very similar in regards to Shedeur is a pocket passer. Shedeur is based on accuracy. Shedeur is a QB where that offense can be very similar to Aiden's. It's very important that Aiden is healthy. For that reason, Desmond Ridder should start the remainder of the season. And I'm almost wondering if the Raiders are going to go that route. And I say this because the Maxx Crosby injury. Hear me out, okay? Max, earlier in his week on his podcast, was saying, if I'm out there playing football, we're not trying to tank. I know Max is dealing with an ankle injury. He's been dealing with an ankle injury since the Baltimore game, and he kind of got rolled up again up against Tampa Bay. There's no doubt Max has an ankle injury. But let's get one thing straight here. The reason why Max, I believe, had season-ending surgery is because they told him the cards are on the table. The cards on the table are that this, for the remainder of the season, is probably going to be team tank. I know that AP's never going to admit it. I know that no Raiders player is ever going to admit it. But I do find it very interesting that the timing of Max saying things like, if I'm out there playing, we're not trying to lose football games. So then you have that. Then they end his season. And I know that he has the ankle injury, but we've seen Max literally put his life on the line. And I don't think that ankle injury was severe enough to where he probably couldn't have gone out there and played. Is the smart thing for him to do get season-ending ankle surgery? Yeah, absolutely. Plan for next season. We need a healthy Condor. There's no doubt about it. But when you hear some of the reports that are out there and some of the rumors that have just been circulating over the past 72 hours and what have you is reports around Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco's future being a little bit unknown. I put out a video 13 days ago. It says juicy Raiders rumors. Everything that everyone's talking about, Mark Davis saying we're evaluating Antonio Pierce, we're evaluating Tom Telesco. Talked about all that stuff 13 days ago. You can go check it out on the video here on the channel. Juicy Raiders rumors is what it is. It's got a yellow bar. It's got a picture of Telesco. It's got a picture of AP. Everything that people are talking about now, talked about it 13 days ago. But it's the truth, though, of they are evaluating these guys very differently. And there was a rumor, we'll call it a rumor, about probably 3-4 days ago that Antonio Pierce was seen saying that this team is, unfortunately, not going to try to win any more football games. Unfortunately for him, fortunate, I guess, for the Silver and Black. So when you see rumors, and I think rumors are very important to follow the tea leaves, all that. So you see that report come out. You see the rumor of Antonio Pierce apparently admitting that the Raiders are going to be team tank. And then a few hours later, Maxx Crosby is put on season-ending surgery. When all of these things start to align, I think people need to pay attention here a little bit, and it's why I am really a big believer that Max got shut down, because this team knows that, you know what, we got to look forward for the NFL draft. And I know that people aren't going to admit it, but I'm telling y'all right now, the Raiders want Shedeur Sanders, and the only way you're going to have a chance in hell in getting Shedeur Sanders is if you have one of those top picks. Unless you're willing to mortgage a lot, which, again, we can get into here in just a moment. Before, though, and we got to talk about Shedeur Sanders a little bit, because I'm a little unhappy with Shedeur. Did you see what he did yesterday? If you didn't see what he did yesterday, I'll tell you here in just a moment. Before we get into that, though, today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks, and I had a lot of fun yesterday, which usually I work on Sundays. And due to the fact that Alex and we had a little bit of a wedding tasting thing yesterday, so I got the day off on Sunday because the Raiders also played on Monday Night Football. But, we got home last night. I got to watch a little bit of Sunday Night Football, got a Prize Picks lineup in, and had a ton of fun. And if you're looking for something to do tonight, there's 2 Monday night games. If you need something to root for, here's what you need to do. Prize Picks. This link's going to be available to y'all down in the comments, down in the description. Download the app today. Use code CLNS. Get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Sign up today. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, the best way to win real money. Yesterday, I didn't win a lot of money, but I ended up getting $20. So I'm like, all right. I had like 3 or 4 lineups, which ended up totaling $20. I won on one of them. Ended up getting some money back tonight. I also have a lineup as well, which I don't know if you guys are going to like it. I'm not going to lie, but, well, depending on who you're rooting for, I guess. You could always go for Brock Bowers on the more. That seems to be a pretty damn good one. He's got 87 catches this season. Needs, I want to say, 19 more to break the rookie record overall. But my lineup tonight here on Prize Picks, and I took advantage of a deal where they had Patrick Mahomes needed a half a passing yard. So Bijan Robinson, I took 21 and a half rushing yards in his first 5 attempts, which you could do. I took the more on that one. And then Darnell Mooney, he's a receiver for Atlanta. If he has a catch for over 20 and a half receiving yards, I get that one as well. It was $5 to win, 25. If you need something to root for, Prize Picks the way to go. Download the app today. Use code CLNS. Get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. All right, so let's talk about Shedeur here a little bit because, it's not like I'm upset. I don't blame him for doing what he's doing, but he tweeted out, "Thank you, God," yesterday after the Giants game. And I know when we see the "thank you, God," every Raiders fan's like, that's for us, that's for us, that's for us. And the Raiders didn't play yesterday, and the "thank you, God" tweet goes out, and the reason why I think that that's noteworthy is because before last week, if you listen to a lot of reporters out there, a lot of people that cover the Giants in particular, and I get it, we cover the Raiders, so that's where we focus. But when you listen to people that cover the Giants, it's been Cam Ward, Cam Ward, Cam Ward. All talk has been around Cam Ward and that camp wanting Cam Ward. So let's look at over the past few days. Shedeur Sanders is in New York City celebrating the Heisman Trophy ceremony, wants to cheer on Travis Hunter. And, congratulations to Travis Hunter. Personally, I would have given it to Ashton Jeanty, but both guys deserved it. I don't think that's why you saw the vote so close to what they were. However, though, when you see that, and then a few days ago, Deion Sanders disputed the report that Shedeur, didn't want to play for the Giants. Deion came out and said that that wasn't true. So you hear that and you go, all right, maybe Deion's just trying to do his thing here a little bit. And then Shedeur's in New York again. And then there's a video of him throwing a football with Malik Neighbors, literally like on the street. I'm not saying that video is like, oh, Shedeur's playing catch with Malik, but like guys can make relationships, guys can make friendships in a very short amount of time, especially when you're a young player trying to find your footing. And the one thing about New York is there's bright lights. If there's one city that's probably going to give you more exposure than Las Vegas, it's New York. And Shedeur is a money-making dude, Deion's a money-making dude, and they probably know deep down that if he was the quarterback of the New York Giants in New York City, that's going to get a lot of attention because neither New York team has a long-term answer at QB, and that could be a big reason why Shedeur could be interested in going out and playing for the Giants. Now, I've said it before. I think Shedeur is the QB that Tom Brady is targeting. I think Shedeur is the quarterback that the Raiders want, but I've always been a Cam Ward guy. So if the Giants ended up getting Shedeur and the Raiders ended up getting Cam Ward, quite frankly, I wouldn't be upset about it. I'd probably even be a little bit happy about it. But when you see the "thank you, God" tweet, I think people got to start paying a little bit closer attention to that NFL draft order, which is why this game is important for the Raiders to lose. You got 4 more games, and if the Raiders lose out these next 4 games based on strength of schedule, they will have the number 1 overall pick and they will be able to pick whatever quarterback that they want. So Shedeur, I saw the thank you God tweet. You're making me a little bit nervous, but at the end of the day, if the Raiders have a top 2 pick, it's not going to matter. You're going to be able to get your franchise quarterback anyway. So speaking of draft order, let's talk about it here. Right now, the Giants are at number 1 because they lost. They're 2-12. If the Raiders end up losing, they're going to fall to 2-12 as well. And I believe based on Tankathon and the winning percentage of opponents and whatnot, I think the Raiders would end up still staying at number 2. But all you need to do is be in that top 2 regard. At number 3, it's the New England Patriots. Then it's Jacksonville, Carolina, Tennessee, and Cleveland, all at 3-11. If the Raiders win tonight against the Falcons, they would have the number 7 overall pick in the NFL draft, which, yeah, it sucks, but there's still going to be an opportunity, I think, for you to be able to trade up and go get Shedeur. Why do I say that? New England Patriots have Drake May. Shedeur would not go there. Jacksonville, he ain't going there. They also have Trevor Lawrence. Carolina, based on actually what I hear, Carolina might realistically stick with Bryce Young. And if they do end up sticking with Bryce Young, that's also going to be a team that, here's the thing, Shedeur ain't going to Carolina. The Tennessee Titans, I feel really bad for Tennessee. I was never a Will Levis believer. I don't know how many people really truly were, but that's another situation where they might have to move on from their QB. I don't know if the Titans are going to be able to. They have a lot of other issues, and I could see them rolling with Will Levis again, but that's going to be another team that Shedeur ain't going to Tennessee. Shedeur definitely not going to Cleveland with all that situation up there. So to me, I look at that and I go, yeah, the Raiders dropped down. All that means is you're probably going to have to give up some extra draft capital that you originally wouldn't have to give up, but you still have an opportunity to go out and get Shedeur Sanders, because then at number 8 is the New York Jets, and they just got to win against Jacksonville at 4-10. But what's important, again, is Tennessee, Jacksonville, they play Week 17. The Raiders play the Jags in Week 16. There's a lot of other football games that are going to be falling, so that this draft order is close, but over the next 2 weeks, 16, 17, it's really, really going to mix up, and I hope that the Raiders don't shoot themselves in the foot running into a dumb win over the final 4 games, because you got the Falcons, you got the Jags, the Saints without Derek Carr, and then the Chargers. The Chargers are probably still going to try to win, because we'll talk about that NFL playoff picture here in just a moment, but the Raiders are in a situation to get their franchise QB. Please, please, please do not screw it up. But it's talk about the playoff picture. I don't know if you guys know this. The Raiders, they're not going to end up making it. On the AFC side, the Chiefs have clinched the playoff spot. The Bills, who looked really good yesterday against Jared Goff and the Lions, that was a hell of a football game. They're right now at the number 2 seed. The Steelers are at 3. The Texans would be at 4, and we should root for the Texans, obviously, for Chugs. Then the teams that are in the hunt. Ravens at 5. They're 9-5. The Broncos, 9-5. Chargers are 8-6. I know it sucks that you got 3 AFC West teams, but for me personally, if all those teams are in the playoffs, we're going to be doing watch parties regardless for playoff games on the Raiders Report. But doing playoff watch parties when you definitely are rooting against one team does make it a lot more interesting. At least I personally think so. So just looking at some of those games, looking at some of those matchups, I'll be real. Chargers at 8-6. The next team at that 8 seed is the Indianapolis Colts, who lost yesterday to the Denver Broncos. They're 6-8. If I had to guess, 3 AFC West teams are going to end up making the playoffs, which, of course, the Raiders are the team that doesn't get in. But this is why, again, you need a franchise quarterback. You need to get it going, because all 3 of those AFC West teams have great head coaches. Looks like they're doing things the right way. Raiders got to get on that bell, if you know what I'm saying. All right, y'all, I'm getting ready to get the heck out of here. I have an eye appointment before I come into work, so that's why I'm making a video today a little bit earlier at home. Again, appreciate all the well wishes that I've been getting. My eye is about, I'd say, 75% back to full strength. I still can't quite 100% see out of my right eye, but in terms of being able to face the lights, being able to look at different stuff, we're pretty close to being back. Again, we're going to be live tonight, Monday Night Football. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you're tuned in. We're going to be having a lot of fun. We're going to be rooting for the Falcons, and it sucks saying that, but at the end of the day, long-term goals here for the Raiders, and it's to try to get that top pick, to try to get that quarterback, to try to flip this thing around, because it's the only way that I think that the Raiders are going to be able to get this thing going in the right direction. All right, y'all. Hopefully we see Desmond Ridder start. I want Aiden O'Connell to be healthy for next season. Long-term type of stuff there. Appreciate everyone always tuning in. And if you're Team Tank, I better see you there tonight. Even if you're not Team Tank, show up. I haven't done a live show in a very long time. And quite frankly, I am super stoked. We're going to be giving away some stuff. We're going to be doing some duck races like we usually do. Who knows? Maybe you can leave tonight's show winning $1,000. We've seen it before, and it's going to happen again. That I can guarantee. All right, y'all. Enjoy your Monday morning. I'll see y'all tonight for Monday Night Football, Raiders, Falcons. It's going to be a hell of a time. If you want even more content around the silver and black, click the subscribe button right here. I promise you, I got you all covered. If you want to see some past videos that Chug's been doing over the week while I've been out, you can click on this video. Even more videos from my guy Jeremy Chugs, and I did end up doing like one video over the past week because I was able to do it here at home. You can click this button as well. More content here on the Raiders Report, or click that subscribe button.